Hello Team FD and welcome back to Winners and Losers, where we break down the latest and greatest Premier League action. This is my final Winners and Losers, and it might just be the final showing for some of Liverpool's midfielders after the 90 that we just witnessed. Joe, how are you before we get stuck in?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. That was a brutal watch from a Liverpool's perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway, wasn't it? We're going to break down some of the stinking performances in that side today, but City were great as well.
City absolutely thumped Liverpool at home, didn't they? That was Pep's 100th win at the Etihad, coincidentally, closing the points gap at the top of the Premier League table to 5 for the time being. Of course, Arsenal playing right now. In the process, consigning Liverpool to their 8th away loss of the season, the worst return of the Jurgen Klopp era. City on the opposite trajectory, aren't they, at current? They've won 4 games on the bounce for the first time in the 22-23 campaign. So building momentum at a crucial juncture, and this is starting to feel very familiar. This is what they do when push comes to shove, isn't it? Joe, this game absolutely done at the hour mark.
Yeah.
Liverpool just couldn't compete in any way, shape or form. So let's break down that element. Let's start with a negative first before we start waxing lyrical about some of those City performances.
Yeah, I mean, they struggled to progress the ball at the pitch badly. Liverpool, didn't they, throughout the game? City were in almost total control. I think Liverpool put out 4 shots across the 90 minutes, didn't they? The last one coming in the 54th minute. Not good enough.
54th.
Really, not good enough. The midfield just nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. And I think Liverpool fans at home will have largely expected that when they first saw that team sheet come out today. I think they will have looked at that and gone,
it's been a recurring theme of the season.
That's a problem. It's a problem. And we've talked about it endlessly this season, haven't we? I mean, the midfield only made 3 tackles combined. Not good enough.
Yeah.
And this was a midfield they're playing against where John Stones was often operating in their space. You're expecting some level of dominance, but, you know, just nowhere near able to compete.
I tweeted during the game, like, everyone expects John Stones to be comfortable and adept in midfield positions, but he was cruising in this fixture. There's a big difference between stepping in and bossing the match from the middle of the park.
They had 70% possession, Manchester City, at the end of the day. And let's face it, Liverpool finished the game with a midfield of Oxlade, Milner, Fabinho and Henderson. I mean, I think that was a pretty clear indication from Jurgen Klopp to his board. I badly need reinforcements in here. Jordan Henderson in particular stood out to me as a player who just looked a little bit lost. It didn't look like he was able to compete at that level. It felt like a real sliding doors moment today for Jordan Henderson. No tackles, no ground duels won, 1 accurate long ball, 2 fouls committed, just 5 passes into the final third all game. He couldn't control the game. He wasn't good enough off the ball. The game was passing him by. Overall, I have to say, I thought Liverpool's midfield was pretty catastrophic today, and that's where the game was lost.
Those numbers particularly damning as well, because if Jordan Henderson isn't providing really good ball progression in the form of his passing, then he's not providing a lot, is he? Because his defensive contribution has dropped off massively in the last 2-3 campaigns. Obviously, his game management is still very good. But if he's not precise on the ball, then you do have to question what he's bringing to the team, particularly at this level against top opposition. It's worth touching upon Robertson and Trent as well. I often felt sorry for them at times because they would get the ball from Konate or Van Dijk and have no option in terms of progressing the ball into midfield. City just covered those passing lanes really, really well, didn't they? I thought that was the best I've seen them press in a long, long time, actually, against top opposition. But yes, Andrew Robertson, a 65% pass accuracy. That was the worst on the pitch. Desperate stuff from him. 33% of his ground duels won. 2 fouls committed. 0 chances created. I think you said after about 50, 60 minutes, he was probably the worst player on the pitch.
In my opinion,
and those numbers very much painting a picture.
Because I'm levelling him up against his classic level, this all-action, pace, power, left back that can do it all, and it just felt like he was totally subdued in his performance. And when he got hooked, I thought that's a real indication that Jurgen Klopp has not been happy with that performance. Tsimikas coming on, is not going to be able to affect the game at this stage. That felt like a bit of a statement.
And let's put a bit of shine on the performance of Riyad Mahrez as well, because he toyed with Andrew Robertson, didn't he? So we had an on-song Mahrez to compete with. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 0 chances created, only 3 passes into the final third. A little bit like Henderson, if he's not bringing the noise with his passing, with his, not so much like Henderson in this department, his creativity, then again, your place for in that Liverpool team up for debate.
Grealish had him on toast, didn't he?
Yeah, 3 fouls committed. I imagine most of them were on Jack Grealish as well. Fabinho, 1 tackle, 2 out of 8 ground duels. And this might feel like stat diarrhea at the moment, but we are just trying to paint a picture that the midfield couldn't compete. They were losing their individual battles, and it is these fine margins all over the pitch that just meant City were in cruise control. Was there any redeeming performances out there for you? Because we were both sort of like, Gakpo was okay.
Thin on the ground. Yeah, I thought he huffed and puffed, Gakpo, didn't he? And it certainly feels like he's growing into that Liverpool shirt. But I would say of the 11 players on the pitch, 10 of them were pretty dreadful. I think Van Dijk as well was really poor again today. Obviously the deepest of the centre backs. If you look at his average position on the midday, and when he isn't spraying balls out wide, I just feel like he can get a bit lazy in possession at times. And when Mo Salah operated slightly higher and through the middle, they didn't have that right wing option for Van Dijk to spray the ball out to. I felt like that hurt them quite a lot today. Yeah, there was a few moments in the match that really kind of made me think, oh, this is a real passing of the tides here. Like, this is no longer Liverpool versus Manchester City, the two behemoths in the Premier League battling it out. Like, when Mo Salah broke, counter-attacked, through on goal, the old Mo Salah would have just driven pace, power straight at Jack Grealish. And I thought, Jack just kind of just jogged back, control of the situation. You're not going to beat me here. And I thought that was a big moment.
That City were totally unperturbed when they took the lead as well, which is worth saying. It was a great finish by Salah, and a wonderful assist from Diogo Jota as well. I mean, I thought his contribution at that point was really solid, but he quickly faded, didn't he? And yeah, if you look at their average positions, because you've mentioned that a couple of times then in passing, we'll pop it up on screen right now. It did become a sort of hit and hope system to Mo Salah.
Yeah,
and
did.
It all
ball
seemed
central.
A little bit desperate. They were a little bit clueless as to how to evade that City press. There were times when it happened, Hendo might have found a couple passes. Obviously, they're struggling in midfield with Thiago out. He's still injured, isn't he? His return date unspecified. So they could really have used him trying to build up play from deep, but that just did not happen. Right, let's move on to City then.
Yeah, we got to put some praise on.
Who do you want to talk about first and foremost?
I mean, Jack Grealish, who I thought was magnificent. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. Absolute nightmares for Trent Alexander-Arnold throughout the entire game. His ability to drift inside, drag players with him that create space for runners like Alvarez is just magnificent. He's growing into a City shirt week by week, fully deserved of his goal, which I thought he took really well. He's probably a little bit too unselfish at times. When he gets a yard in the box, I just want him just to bang one, and he takes the extra touch and tries to feed someone in. But he is just a constant thorn in his side. I thought when he came off and Pep gave him that extended hug, I could have imagined Pep saying, that was one of your best games in a Manchester City shirt for me today. I thought he was absolutely magnificent and has been since he's come back from the World Cup in particular. So yeah, I want to put some shine on Jack Grealish because he gets a lot of stick, but you know, there was a lot of good performances today, especially in that midfield, wasn't there? Yeah,
do you know he's only averaging 1.8 shots per 90 at the moment, which is less than league average for someone in his position in Europe's top 5 leagues, which again gives kind of light to what you're saying about his reluctance to hit it at times. But what I will say about him this season is his play is just so lean. His decision making is really spot on. There's times when it looks like he's on the ball perhaps a little bit too long, but that's, I think, because players are very wary, very standoffish when it comes to him. So in order to suck them in, to bring them onto him, he has to almost take that extra second, and normally that means that, you know, KDB or Gundogan find that extra yard of space, or, you know, someone becomes free inside the box because he's occupying multiple defenders. He's starting to develop that gravity that great players have, and he dominated that right flank. I thought Trent and Konate, that the spaces in between them whenever he got on the ball and came in sort of the inside the half spaces, they just panicked, didn't they? And they were in total disarray. Worth flagging KDB as well, strolling around at points through this game. Looked a little bit lazy off the ball, particularly when Liverpool were breaking early on in the first half, but finished the 90 with 5 chances created, 3 dribbles completed, a goal, an assist. That's his 13th assist of the campaign. Will he break that assist record of 20? Slowed up a little bit midway through this campaign, but I'm sure he'll pick that up towards the end. And I don't know. I've got Gundogan, Alvarez, Rodri, and Stones down
They're all
here.
just great.
Who do you want to take? Because this was a great team performance, wasn't it?
I don't really think I need to talk about any more individuals. I thought the team performance from Manchester City was the most important thing from their perspective. I think that's the 4th win in a row in the Premier League. That's the first time they've done that this season.
Yeah.
It's an ominous sign, just growing into form. But, Arsenal equally able to just consistently batter out wins. So this is going to go right down to the final day of the season, in my opinion, between City and Arsenal.
Any chinks in their armour? A weird question after seeing them demolish Liverpool 4-1.
I still do think there is a problem off the ball against teams that are extremely counter-attacking and direct with the 3 at the back system, because the centre-back can get dragged around a little bit. I think I could see that being a slight problem against a team like Brentford, where Tony can occupy that central defender and players can run off him, and you can get little flick-ons when it's direct. But overall, I thought City were pretty magnificent today, so there's no negatives.
And then just being able to change their game without Haaland obviously helped that, Alvarez is a little bit more comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he was dropping into great effect, wasn't he? Fabinho didn't know where he was coming or going with him occupying those spaces, and it was just a really smart performance from all of them. Even just like the pace of Gundogan's passing throughout the 90s, they were just purring, all of them, weren't they? Let's talk about the runs coming up then.
Oof.
Liverpool have got Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, and then Leeds away. Which one?
We say Leeds away, but they can't win an away game.
8-7 to Liverpool.
They can't win an away game.
Where do you anticipate them finishing come the end of the season? That's 3 of their, 10
I think
remaining
when we need
fixtures?
to talk, I had them 6th or 7th. They're 3 losses in a row here. And this is off the back of beating Manchester United 7-0. There's been an awful lot of false dawns in this Liverpool season where they've got a really good result and then just consistently stumbled in the game subsequently. You look at losing to Bournemouth, Real Madrid, Manchester City, having to go away to Stamford Bridge, which they're not flying in Chelsea by any means, but Liverpool, I think 13th, 14th best best away record in the league.
And last time those 2 sides played, I thought Chelsea deserved to go away with all 3 points.
Yeah, and then obviously you don't want to have to play Arsenal at any stage this season, so that's going to be an incredibly tough game. I'm going to stick with I don't see Liverpool getting in the top 4. I think that next 3 games are massive, and if they only take 3 points from them, I think Newcastle will be quite a long way away from them. Brighton might be clear of them because their game's in hand. I think it's a really difficult season. Bajecic's injuries just killed him a little bit.
Yeah, they look really unbalanced in the middle of the park, don't they? And I think that Harvey Elliott is okay against smaller sides where they're going to dominate the ball. He's actually quite useful in those situations in terms of sustaining build-up. But when you've got a midfielder like Rodri or someone like John Stones coming up against him, he just gets brushed aside, doesn't he? Bless him. Still think he's a good player though. Level on points now with Brentford, Liverpool, and Brighton have 2 games in hand on them. So I think 6th, they'd probably take that at this point, to be honest.
Nah, they got a battle for top 4. They've got
it. We'll see. What do you lot at home think? Let us know where you reckon the Reds are going to finish up in the comments below. We won't do how did Liverpool fix themselves in this particular episode. We've fixed their midfield about 2 or 3 times this season, so we're getting massively bored of that. But we do want to know your primary target in the summer. Give us your top 1 as well, and that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.
Yeah, what he just said.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Subscribe.
Like.